This is Jerry Corsi, and we're just now getting ready to go live. I'm going to post a tweet on it, and let's get start getting people to join it. Hold on a second, and I'm also going to put up a notice on Facebook. So we have two notices up now that we're going live stream, and let me just double check here, make sure both went out. I think we're all set. And then I'm coming into the live chat right here. Okay, and I see we're getting people to join us, so we are back. It's great to be back with you. I'll tell you, I wasn't sure there for a while, but it's really happy to be back. I'm right back on YouTube, and you can see that everything is now in place. See, we're getting joined. Northern Ireland, the Netherlands, Canada. People are coming on very actively. I really appreciate it. Thank you. It's all great to be back. I really appreciate people welcoming me back. All across London, England, we're getting international coverage today. Las Vegas, that's great. Oregon, Washington State, Canada, Kansas, Norfolk, Mass. Yeah, this is terrific. Sacramento, Memphis, Colorado. We're getting pickup from all across the country today. It's really great, and all across the world. It's very gratifying. I'm on Super Chat. We're going to be on Super Chat as well throughout this, and I'm going to be watching very carefully what the messages are posted. I think we've got a new system going. The buffering issue hopefully will be good. I'll keep watching here, make sure it's strong. Florida, Texas. This is great. We've got from the UK. All across Nebraska, all the states seem to be coming in. California, Charles Vance, thank you very much. People saying that, thank you, Charles. I really appreciate that. Being missed, I'm glad to be back. I'm really happy to be back on YouTube and glad that this all resolved very positively. Florida, Pittsburgh, all across. This is just tremendous. We're all across the world already. We're just getting started. It's terrific seeing everybody come in, and thank you. Baby Cat, thank you very much appreciated. Everyone, Super Chat appreciations of being back are terrific. I want to take some good time today and be able to really get into the issues of what happened. Just me, thank you very much again. These are very much appreciated on the Super Chat. I'm very enthusiastic to be returning with you guys in Maine, all over the country, all over the world. I'm back. We're going to cover a lot of issues today. Yes, we'll cover issues about QAnon. First of all, I want to say that the issue with YouTube appears now to be resolved. Christine Daly, thank you very much. FL, thank you. As you know, I was taken off. My account was canceled last Wednesday, and just to kind of do a quick recap of it, on Wednesday I had posted a couple of the broadcasts we had done of QAnon, the decoding sessions that I had been working on with the group at Calm Before the Storm, that's at CBTS_stream, and we've been running regular decodes and showing the progress being made and QAnon analysis of the various messages we were getting. Dale Anderson, thank you. Bank C, thank you. Christine Case, Brad T, Revolution Revisited 2.0. These are very gratifying to have your continued support. It means a tremendous amount to me. Thank you. The termination occurred, and I was kind of surprised by it because, yes, I had two of the videos, which had been up for quite a while, suddenly got people objecting to them, or maybe objected to internally in YouTube. I don't know. Veritas Farm, thank you. Karen Summers, thank you. Whimsicology, that's a great one. Thank you. Donald Fasciana, I believe that would be said. Thank you. So I got the notion of termination after two. We only had two violations of videos that were taken down. After that, I removed all the videos myself. I thought I'd get a third violation immediately if this was going on with what had been posted for quite a while, and they were all basically decodes from the group chat over at CBTS_stream. So, I basically started putting on Twitter that I was upset about this, that there had been word that there was going to be a purge of conservatives off YouTube. I thought that violated what I want to be the fundamental Internet Bill of Rights freedoms that we're going to have on the Internet. Nancy Sawyer, thank you. Cosmo Sherry, Sierra Echo, PNW, Light Switch. Thank you, Light Switch. Your repeated support has really been noted and appreciated. So I started posting on Twitter that I was upset about this, and that this I didn't think was, there was no real fair procedure. Chase Hughes, thank you. Greg Lund, thank you. People were, if you post something and you get this kind of general message, you get the general message I violated harassment and bullying. Well, I didn't. These were chat sessions. We were trying to figure out what was going on in QAnon, and many people were expressing their opinions in these posts that I had, the video that I had on YouTube, and they've been up there for quite a while, been looked at by the moderators, because some of them had not been monetized, and then they got monetized. And so what happened is that as I got into it, I realized that there really wasn't any appeal process here. There was no way I could appeal any of this, and I was pretty much at the whim of YouTube. Well, then on Thursday at about 3 o'clock in the afternoon in Eastern Time, I was trying to use my Gmail, and I got a message on Gmail that essentially said my Gmail account had been compromised by fraud. And I thought that was kind of peculiar, because that had never happened before, and I'd always been very careful with the Gmail account, with all my accounts. Ron Martz, thank you very much. And Roxy USA, I mean, this is very, very gratifying, everybody. Thank you so much for your outpouring of support. And so when I went, it took me about a half an hour to get that my Gmail restored. And then when I got the Gmail restored, I realized that maybe it was related because I had linked the Gmail account to my YouTube, and I went over and looked at YouTube, and suddenly it said the YouTube was gone, that it had just been terminated, completely pulled. The Gooseman, thank you. And I didn't have a clue as to why that had happened, because I didn't get a notification that the third video had been removed, just the account was gone. So I immediately decided what I was going to do is just get involved with posting on Twitter and other places trying to say, this is not fair, I objected to it, that there was no due process. And the earnings I'd had were gone. I had no idea what happened to them, and certainly the earnings should have been returned to everybody who had paid them to me if I wasn't going to be paid by YouTube because I had been terminated. So we went along with this, and we posted on InfoWars what had happened, and Alex Jones was going through the same thing on Wednesday and Thursday, and we realized that Alex had 2 strikes, 2 videos pulled, and then Alex got a notice that one of them was back. Pilgrim Ships 2004, thank you. And so I went on with this, and was posting again, objecting through the day. On Thursday, at about 12:30 at night, I get a notice that my account had been restored at YouTube. And I went over and looked, and it had been restored, and there were no strikes, all that had been removed. Of course, all my videos were gone, and various people thought, well, maybe YouTube removed them. I removed them because I didn't want there to be a third strike when this was happening so fast. I got the first 2 strikes like in boom, boom, and I didn't really have any chance to even think about it. So what had happened, I think, was that as we put out the word that I'd been terminated, I started getting the word back from Washington. I started getting the word back of the White House's very quiet involvement below the scenes, and I also got word that behind the scenes QAnon was involved. And the White House was putting out clearly, Mark Williams, thank you. Rosa Starbright, thank you. The White House was saying on Wednesday and Thursday, when they saw that I had been removed and that this was going to be an attack on InfoWars, which looked like an effort by YouTube to remove conservatives and libertarians from the site prior to the elections and midterm elections coming up in November. And JSR, thank you very much. People are also saying here that maybe China was involved in removing me, the same kind of censorship. You know, that's a very interesting question. It was posed by JSR. A lot of great questions being brought up here in the live chat. I'm going to get to them in a minute. Mostly people are just saying, thank you. All the outpouring of love and the outpouring of people saying how happy they are I am back. I can't thank you enough. It was your support out there. What made the difference was your support. What made the difference was that you let YouTube know that we have been responsible, that we've been examining politics. We've tried to stay within the bounds of appropriate and polite political discourse. I've not wanted to insult anyone. I think we can disagree on politics without hating each other. I think we can have discourse internationally on these issues because we're all concerned about freedom. And what I like is that, you know, we can have this support from you. I want to tell you how deeply I felt your support out there. Even though I wasn't on YouTube, I got flooded with your emails with people telling me how much they were fighting and wanting me back. My Twitter account and my Facebook account piled up with people expressing their support and wanting to help. This is what made, I believe, YouTube take a look and take a listen. And the White House was involved. The president was aware of it. I got some messages back through the various intelligence channels that I get information from. By the way, I don't get classified information. I won't accept it and do everything I can to avoid it. I only deal with public domain information. Christy, thank you very much. All the people out there in live chat and on Super Chat. No More Ebbs, 1957. Thank you very much. What President Trump let everybody know, including, I believe, YouTube, was that the government does not have an interest in regulating, in owning and operating the Internet. President Trump does not want a government take over the Internet, and I was very pleased to get that message back. But he was also saying, the White House was saying, and letting YouTube know that there's going to have to be what we've been calling this Internet Bill of Rights. And I want to start people again with the hashtagging Internet Bill of Rights. And I'd like to see some more memes come up and people presenting memes on the Internet and on the various channels, that we can get this idea across to the world that the Internet's got to be an open, free and open market. It's got to be open for free expression of ideas. Lori G. The Internet Bill of Rights was actually started, I mean, it was an idea that AT&T had. And AT&T was the one who came up with this. And Plastic Surgeon, thank you very much. Everybody, the outpouring of love and support here is just really gratifying. 128 Engineer, thank you all so much. I mean, I'm doing what I can, and you know, it's heartfelt always when I'm doing the analysis, and my goal here is to make sure we preserve the Republic, we preserve for the next generations the freedoms that we've enjoyed. When AT&T came up with this, and of course people said, well, AT&T is a big international corporation and they're part of the New World Order, so we need to be aware or worried about or concerned about any idea that AT&T might be advancing. Kathleen Graham, thank you very much. Everyone here, I want you to know that, you know, people have sent me small amounts. That means huge amount to me. It's not so much that I mean, your outpouring of love for any amounts that it's Northern Iraq. Someone can just contribute it from Northern Iraq. I mean, how wonderful can that be? I want to extend to Northern Iraq my feelings of love, my hopes and prayers that freedom comes and peace finally to your country in Iraq and to the entire Middle East. So I'm saying that AT&T advanced this idea, and AT&T has been very close to President Trump trying to get this Time Warner deal done. It was blocked by some of the holdovers from the Obama administration and the Justice Department. That at issue is whether AT&T would get CNN and would bring CNN into a more conservative direction. And I think basically the president wants to see AT&T not have to divest itself from CNN in order to make the deal work with Time Warner. That's now in the litigation in the federal district court. So basically, I got a hold of this idea, the Internet Bill of Rights, evaluated it from AT&T, and said that this is right on target. This is what we need. We need to make sure that the Internet has the same freedoms that we enjoy in free speech. Jed Steele, thank you. And as that idea advanced, and I think what President Trump was explaining to YouTube was that this is either going to be litigated in the federal district courts or it's going to be in the FCC and the FTC. Quite frankly, I think the Trump administration is moving towards the FTC to do the regulation of the Internet. It has more robust powers. It can deal with protection of privacy, I think, in a superior way. YSR 979, thank you. Andy Wallace. This is Jet Driver 2, thank you. The Trump administration is saying we're going to have an Internet Bill of Rights. The government's not going to take over the Internet. And YouTube is going to have to find a way to let diverse political views be expressed, especially when our interest here is freedom. The FCC is, I want to make sure everybody follows this precisely. The FCC is the Federal Communications Commission. And under President Obama, the FCC was going to regulate the Internet. We were going to regulate it. Some of this is a little complicated, but under Title II of the Communications Act. And then the FTC is the Federal Trade Commission. These are two different groups, regulators, and I think the FTC is going to be a better regulator because it has someone was saying, look, a small contribution, no one needs to apologize for any small contribution. They're appreciated as much. It's not the dollar sign. I'm looking at the expression of love. I'm looking at someone who may give $1. That dollar may mean a lot to that person. It means a lot to me. And please don't think you have to contribute a lot in order to make an impact on me. I'm grateful for everyone who does contribute anything. It gets my true feeling of thanks and appreciation. I can't tell you. Mega, thank you very much. Mega, thank you very much. It's pounds from London. Okay, so first of all, AT&T does not have anything to do with the FTC or the FCC. AT&T was just saying we need to apply the principles of the First Amendment, the Bill of Rights, to the Internet, so that we have a forum that's open to all peoples of all political views, and hopefully around the world. That's what I love so much about everybody participating around the world. This is a human question. This is a question all of us as human beings share. This is one that we all continue to be invested in order to preserve the discourse that we need to be free as human beings. John Stuart Mill said it the best. We have to tolerate this political speech that we like to hear the least. Now, when you're trying to regulate out violence, when you're trying to regulate out terrorism, that's another thing. And no one should be feeling that they have the right to threaten or to advocate violence or advocate terrorism to anyone else. I abhor violence. I've had to study it much of my life, and I've always worked to try to prevent violence, to make sure that we can argue these issues out in free discourse. But free discourse has got to be open to all views. It's got to be open to views you don't like to hear, that you think are wrong. And the remedy there is not intolerance. It worries me that the left is going for intolerance. I don't think so much it was that the YouTube was afraid of AT&T, is that YouTube was concerned that if it was going to try to remove conservatives from using the channel under the argument that its private company can do what it wants. Jackie Bart, thank you very much. The argument of restricting free speech was going to mean that President Trump was going to get involved and was going to be able to get to say we need to have not throwing people off the site because they're conservatives or libertarians or whatever, advocate one position or another position, but that YouTube is not going to have the power, nor is anyone else going to have the power on the internet to run a channel on broadband, sharing a public resource, a public utility, and it's got to be open to all. It's got to be open to people of all persuasions, all races, all points of view. It can't be a forum that's only limited to what a small group on the hard left considers politically correct. We're not interested in a cultural revolution, a thought reform. We want this to be an open and robust discussion. And the concern was that really from the White House, really concern from regulators who want the utility, want the internet to be open to all, that before the midterm elections, that YouTube could have been exerting a political agenda, saying one of the reasons President Trump won was all the support he got out of the conservative movement on the internet, and if we can block that as leftists, and let's be honest about it. I mean, Eric Schmidt, who was the creator, one of the major forces, CEOs of Google and then Alphabet, was very involved in the leftist causes, one of Hillary Clinton's primary supporters. And so politically it looks to the White House and it looked to the regulators that the idea was YouTube was going to get rid of all conservatives before the midterm elections in order to have an electoral advantage, in order to be able to have the leftist agenda be all that was heard on the internet. And when you get a force that's as big as Google or at much share of the market of the internet as YouTube, the White House regulators who were looking at the First Amendment were saying we've got to keep this open for the entire world, and we've got to keep it open for all points of view. So when YouTube changed its mind, I think YouTube decided that they didn't want to take on this issue at this time. The issues of whether or not Google's a monopoly needs to be broken up, where these big forces on the internet, Facebook and the others, even Amazon, in the 1890s, what happened was that these various companies formed trusts. They formed a basic issue that they could control entire industries and all the industries related to it, all steel, railroads, controlled under one entity. And the public policy was to break those up, because you don't want to have a market controlled or dominated by a few people or a concentration of economic power that blasts out all others. People are saying people are raising who's going to get the contract to bring 5G to us. That's another issue we're going to have to take a very hard look at. And we'll, a little bit off topic here, but a very important issue. I wanted to acknowledge it. Let's stay on this issue of free speech. The point is that we're going to have an Internet Bill of Rights, and the concept came from AT&T, and I want to acknowledge that. But I don't want people to think that it's a concept that's designed to have power for AT&T. It's for all of us to share this kind of power. People are saying there's 3,600 people watching this today. That's tremendous, and from all over the world. Thank you very much. We don't want to have YouTube blocking conservatives, throwing me off the channel. And if I was me and Alex Jones and InfoWars, we'd just be the first. I mean, it's like almost election fraud that one company with such a large dominance in the market, YouTube, could try to throw others off and try to get everything going to one candidate or one political view, a leftist, hard left political view. I want my friends on the left to understand that I acknowledge that the left has a full right to have its points argued, but the intolerance, the wanting to destroy conservatives, please give us the same courtesy of being able to express our views. And please, if your arguments on the left are stronger, defeat our arguments on the right. I'm happy to be wrong if it's shown in debate, if it's shown in discussion that I'm wrong. I'm willing to examine my ideas, and I'm willing to change my views when I see that I could adopt a better or more superior position. Where my heart is that we've got to debate these issues, and we've got to have it open to all. And I want those internationally participating to understand that the freedoms we enjoy here in the United States that we want to preserve should be around the world. No government, no monopoly, no controller of a channel like YouTube should have the right to block other points of view from a full discussion. We do not want tyranny. We don't want tyranny from economic interests that have a political point of view. We don't want tyranny for government. We want all peoples all around the world to truly be able to express without violence, without demeaning one another, without calling names. This is what we will need as a species to advance. The critical thinking, the brilliance of John Stuart Mill's essay on liberty was he said, we can't examine ideas. We can't know what's working or what's right or wrong until we debate it, till we test it, till we see how it works, till we're willing to critically re-examine things that we believe in. That's what this fight was all about. Thank you, Greg. Jeff Gregg here says, God bless my efforts and protect me. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. The concept here that we're trying to deal with is a marketplace of ideas. The concept we should be working on as an internet community is an open marketplace of ideas. We're all people with different points of view, even people we disagree with fundamentally, and all religions, because there's no one way to believe in God. There's no one way that we can approach. For me, and I've said it many times, and I will say it again, that I've accepted in my life Jesus Christ as my personal Lord and Savior. That's me. That's the decision I made. I don't. People can make other choices. There's other ways to God. I'm sure that other people have found, and I'm not going to be the one to say that. I'm going to let the marketplace of ideas, the fact that we can agree and disagree, that we can believe in different things. And what free speech means is that ultimately the best ideas are going to raise to the top, especially in an environment where everybody respects each other, where everybody learns to argue these points out. Where we, and someone's bringing up here in the chat the issue of gun control. These issues are not easy issues. They're issues where people passionately believe one thing or another, and see it differently. Greg Lund, thank you. But the point is, we have to debate these arguments. We have to make sure we consider what's the best for safety for our kids. I did a editorial in USA Today this week, in which, by the way, the left immediately tried to attack USA Today, and so, don't you know, Corsi's InfoWars, he's got to be a complete nutcase. Why are you allowing Jerome Corsi to publish in USA Today? And well, what I said was that the response time that we saw in Florida, and the officers not going immediately into the school, we might allow teachers and staff who want to or feel qualified to be armed and with responsibly trained, because that countries like Israel have found that responsibly armed citizenry reduces violence, reduces school shooting. These are things that we have to, even people who say, well, no, we have to have gun-free zones, we ought to have no weapons in the society. Again, I have my views on that, but these things need to be debated, and they need to be debated civilly. I thought that President Trump, in the aftermath of the school shooting, by bringing in all the different sides and listening, and I watched President Trump, the televised interviews, he did listen. He did make notes. He did say he heard people. I think it made an impact on him. And it's hard to remember any other president really taking that time in the aftermath of these tragedies to bring people in and to allow the expression of ideas. We want the best ideas to rise. We want the best ideas to advance. Now, I also want to make sure, because of all these people, nearly 4,000 people listening over this whole thing. It's now up to almost 3,700 watching. How can you be involved? This is the key issue. Well, first of all, you're already involved, that you're listening, you're thinking, we're working. We're working together. I'm reading your messages here on the chat rooms. Deval from Australia, thank you. People are saying very positive things, of appreciating, championing liberty the way I'm doing and I'm wanting to do. These are critical issues. Across the country and across the world, and the involvement, I think, listening, getting involved, expressing yourselves, this is what's going to bring us together. It's going to mean that we can reach across to Iraq, we can reach across to Australia, we can reach across to the UK, to the EU, into Argentina, into Colombia, all the different countries. That, I've traveled widely in my life, and what I've found is, that all people basically share the same aspirations. We're all human. We all have our needs to be nourished, to sleep, to raise families, and fundamentally, we all bleed the same red blood. We all breathe the same air. We want all to have the earth and the rest of the future be determined for liberty. I want this to be an open exchange of ideas, and I was truly gratified when we had YouTube change its mind, put me back on. And I want to acknowledge to YouTube that I'm sure even internally in the corporation there was dissent on that and disagreement. But we don't need to have warring ideologies. We don't need to have people worshiping ideologies. We don't have to people calculating on the left or on the right to be wanting to destroy the other ideologies. If the Democratic Party goes hard left, and I fear it may, it will not be to the Democratic Party's advantage. America does not want a hard left ideology on either the left or the right. What's made this country great is that we can debate, and we are open, the greatest forum in the world to be open. And I think other countries around the world those listening today are appreciating that. Now, as a result of this, there's a couple of decisions I've made. Number one, I'm going to continue on YouTube, and I'm going to continue broadcasting and posting on YouTube. And I'm going to try to keep the things I'm posting on YouTube to fit as much in their guidelines as I understand their guidelines to be. JFK Patriot, thank you. So the guidelines are set, and I'm not even sure how they're so broadly stated that YouTube can really do whatever they want to do, and you're kind of at their mercy. But I'm going to try constantly to be civil and continue the tone I've been done from the beginning. I've never changed on this. Polyvance, thank you. And that is to debate these ideas, have an open forum, and to do it with seriousness. But the future of my YouTube videos, I think I'm going to keep them more generic, more politically oriented, but I've opened up an account over at Gab. And later today, at 5 p.m., I'm going to do my first live chat on Gab, G-A-B. And I've posted on my Twitter account and my Facebook account how you can reach me on Gab. It's very easy to reach. I think Gab is going to be where I'm going to post the various decodings we're doing at QAnon. We're going to, in YouTube, I'm going to cover issues I think that are going to focus on U.S. politics, but also have a larger international perspective to them. Bring in other countries that are more inclusive of, being the type of discourse that we want to have there. Now, all of my accounts, my Twitter account is basically Jerome, I think it's _ and my Gab account is Jerome Corsi. My Facebook account is Jerome Corsi. The YouTube account, Jerome Corsi. Actually, it's JRL. My initials CORSI. But all of them you can find by looking up my name, and they're easy to find. Even my emails, typically, I'm trying to have some emails that are publicly accessible more than others. But the point is, you can find me in all these channels, and I'm going to be using these two in particular. I'm going to have Gab be more for the QAnon decoding, for more of the detailed analysis of what we see as the Trump counterattack, for a little bit more of the subjects that could be a little more controversial in terms of the right-left feelings and the really analysis. I'm going to encourage everybody to get a Gab account, G-A-B, a Gab account, and I'll be posting on Twitter before 5 o'clock how you can reach me on Gab, how you can watch the live chat on Gab. I'm going to stay on YouTube, and I'm going to continue to promote the YouTube content. We will be having the discourse on both, but I'm comfortable at the moment that at Gab it'll be less sensitive to censorship. What concerns me about YouTube is that what was going on was basically censorship, and I'm concerned that if YouTube could make the decision one time to remove me, that I'm not comfortable yet they wouldn't do it again, or that, and how would I know? I mean, I was completely taken by surprise that the two videos that got removed by YouTube had been up there for a long time and were available to be seen for a long time, and then suddenly, YouTube just pulls the plug without any, but a vague explanation. Bullying and harassment. What did that mean in relationship? No real. You can appeal, but you don't get to say anything in the appeal except for maybe one sentence. Well, my one sentence was this: everything I'd posted was normal political discord. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reserve. I want everybody to establish a Gab account, and to anticipate that on Gab I'm going to be doing I'm going to continue to work with Calm Before the Storm, at CBTS_stream. I'm going to come onto that, and that'll be on live chat, I believe, on YouTube as well, continuing. So people can listen, and I'll be posting on Twitter when I'm, when Q Anon does a new posting. You can come on the YouTube for at CBTS_stream, and that's open to everybody. That's going to continue to be a free and open channel to listen to the discords as they're going on at the time. And then my first place I'm going to land to do the decoding is at CBTS_stream. And then from there, I'll be able to do more detailed work on YouTube with the kinds of, hopefully, to avoid censorship. And that we will be, then on Gab, if you get an account of Gab, you'll be able to see the more direct QAnon analysis, the more direct analysis of what I'm going to call President Trump's counterattack. When my book is out, my book is coming out in March 13th. It's called Killing the Deep State, and it's the fight to save Donald Trump. I probably have a copy of here. I can hold it up at some point in one of these live chats. You can see it on Amazon right now. The fight to save Donald Trump. That's probably going to get more discussed on Gab, because I expect it's going to be more controversial, and that it has more to do with partisan politics, or perceived to have to do with partisan politics. My fight is against the deep state. My fight is against the forces of globalism and internationalism that treat human beings like sheep. Yes, people saying that YouTube is a private corporation. I appreciate it is. What we're saying is that it's also going to be regulated, because it is a large, as it were, utility. It's a large broadcast facility, and it can't be reserved just for the political opinions that the owners of YouTube happen to like. What happens if YouTube gets purchased by a group of conservatives, which could happen? Is the left then going to be equally happy to see censorship of the left because the ownership of YouTube changed? That's going to be, left is going to think to apply. It could happen to us too. And understanding why these rules need to be fair and open for all. The hashtag Great Awakening, which is what QAnon is about. And so I want to make a couple comments. I think QAnon is going to be posting again here very shortly. Susan Perry, thank you. Then there's a third channel that I'm going to begin exploring, and that's going to be DTube. Because DTube and the Steemit whole technology, which is going to be based on blockchain, and basically a fundamentally different Bitcoin. It will be how it's going to be compensated. But I want to explain something about blockchain. See, today, corporate structures are all centralized. So today, it was Eric Schmidt created, was major CEO, did a lot to build Google, and should be credited for that. That's what capitalism and American enterprise and the world is about. But at the same time, it can't become a dominant technology for communication and not have an Internet Bill of Rights and comply to it. That's my point. But secondly, if we look at structures that are new ownership, new CEO, new board of directors, suddenly the whole corporation changes direction. And if it does change direction, and it is politically motivated, that's not the most strong future. These bones, thank you very much. It's not the most strong future for where we need to be as a species and as civilizations. The blockchain is decentralized. It's hard to explain fully, but what it means is that it's like different Tippers, thank you very much again. That's really, all of these, Susan Perry, Michael Jackson. I've seen people also Re- repeat donate. And Olive Ramos Veron from Norway says, see this is good in us. May God bless us. May the Holy Spirit inspire us. Thank you. That means a lot to me, coming from anyone and to coming from Norway. Thank you. Norway's a great country, and I love Norway. Scandinavia is spectacular. But then there's so many parts of the world I love. I don't think I've been anywhere in the world that I haven't loved. And the people are what make these places great. This blockchain technology operates in a decentralized, so there's like nodes, there's like different pieces to blockchain. And if you attack one of the pieces, the others kind of stay in their own. They can't be a decentralized command. And in the future, our corporations may look much more like blockchain. We're going to see blockchain applied to financial institutions. We're going to see blockchain applied to travel companies. Almost any kind of a corporation are going to be able to be on blockchain decentralized structure, where you're much more in control of your destiny. I think the D2 for the moment is going to be a smaller platform, more specialized to use, a little bit more difficult to learn. But long term, I think blockchain is going to have a major role in how generations in the future organize governments and businesses. Michael Donahue, thank you. We're, as a species, just entering our brightest opportunities worldwide. Worldwide, we have to fight tyranny wherever it occurs. In corporations, censorship, we have to basically fight the same demons across the world, no matter what country it is, what race people are, what issues people have, whether they're, sexual liberation, whether they're issues of children being educated. These are very difficult issues. People are going to have very different views. They needed to be debated, but we're all fighting against tyranny. We're all fighting so that governments and corporations don't control our destiny. That the governments and corporations allow individuals, allow people all over the world to reach their fullest potential. There's no limit to what human beings can achieve if they're given the opportunity and the creativity to be themselves, to express their own God-given abilities. This is why I was so upset to see YouTube make a decision as they did that was arbitrary. You, the people who are tuning in right now and listening, you're the force, the most important force that is the future of the world. Long after I'm gone, hopefully some of the things we are able to accomplish together will set the basis for a future in which no human being will suffer tyranny. No human being will have to suffer a disease that a pharmaceutical company could cure, but withhold the treatment to make more money on the medicines that maintain the illness but don't cure the disease. Schools that don't educate. Slums and ghettos, wherever they are in the world, that don't allow children to reach their full potential in education. These are the things we must fight together. Left, right, these are issues which shift in meaning, and we shouldn't forget that they shift in meaning. We have to keep it such that YouTube cannot make an arbitrary decision on politics and cancel someone because they care to express political views or ideas that differ from the owners, that differ from the powers that be that control that corporation. That's why I believe this whole idea of the internet having a Bill of Rights. I know Bill of Rights sounds American, but across the world it can be a platform of free expression that is what the Bill of Rights is all about in America, individual freedoms, that the state and the corporations do not have the right to come in and tyrannize your life. I want to kind of end this today with this theme, and that is that, you know, each of you out there are the key to unlocking the door to the future. Each one of you are. And for those of you who are listening today, who knows which will be the next great scientist, the next great musician, the next brilliant painter, the next genius when it comes to inventing, or in mathematics, or in science. You each have the potential to do it. God gave every human being on the face of the earth unique capabilities. And our goal is to get up to a point where we can express ourselves to the marketplace of ideas. The best ideas rise to the top. Not the most powerful ideas, the ideas with the most money behind them, or the corporation with the most control, but the best ideas, the best talent. And if we can end with the pledge that we'll keep the internet open to all, I think we will have achieved something with this recent YouTube experience I've gone through, in which I will commend and applaud YouTube for coming to the right decision, and to have done so quickly. You know, within 48 hours, the decision to terminate my account was reversed, and the account was reestablished. And that meant something to me. And I wanted to make sure that we understand that we're on the verge of a second American Revolution. It is we the people. The world, I think, is on the verge of a great renaissance. And I think it's a great opportunity that we can create a future that is unimagined in the history of human beings, to achieve our full potential. And for me, that'll be a potential with God at the center, and with people having the ability to worship God in their own chosen means. When I walked some 200 miles with the Iranians wanting freedom in the country after I wrote Atomic Iran, what I realized was that how much we shared in our quest for freedom. Almost everyone on that march except for me was a Muslim. And I had no doubt that these were people of goodwill, wanted freedom in their country, did not want to see their children sold into sex slavery, didn't want human trafficking, wanted an environment in which they could not have drugs pushed on them by a government or a corporation, and not have opioids be the only solution to their way to find happiness. There's no limit to what we can do together. No limit to what your creativity can do in years, setting a new renaissance for the future generations to come, that we can begin to share here today in a global spirit. I invite you to continue with us on YouTube. I invite everybody to join us and get together in the spirit where we can have a more precise examination of QAnon over on Gab. And then as we begin to work with DTube and begin to move in that direction, and I've had some very excellent emails from people offering to bring us over there. I've been really deeply touched by the number of emails of people knowledgeable saying that they can help. And I can be reached always on the instant messages from any one of these various forums. What we're going to conclude on is the themes of human freedom, human dignity, and reaching our potential by free debate. And I want to thank everybody around the world who's been listening. I hope that our elections and the midterm elections in 2018 will be fair and open elections, be debated, and the people will choose the candidates that we the people decide are the best, not the corporations or political ideologies of extremism on either side. And as I say, God bless the United States of America. God bless the world and all you listening. And in conclusion, thank you for your outpouring of support, especially through the crisis of YouTube canceling my account and then reinstating it. It's meant a tremendous amount to me. I can't tell you how much I appreciate and acknowledge and follow your support. Together we can do this. Together with God's help, there's no limit to what we can achieve. Thank you for your time and for your support. God bless you all. Look forward to being with you soon again in the next live chat, one at 5 o'clock today, the first one I'm going to do on Gab. Thank you all. We'll catch up with you very shortly. God bless.